pay my insurance. My rent's
You
$1,200.
can't be Carl Johnson.
I understand
You ain't
that.
Carl Johnson. Now, what's Midwest Forge think about that?
I haven't talked to them directly, but my friend has, and well, they appreciated my work. They didn't appreciate me lying, but they said whenever this is situated to give them a call and discuss things. But I haven't talked to them directly, but that's all I was told by my friend.
What did you give them that they hired you as Carl Johnson?
I gave them Devon Shorter's resume.
The what?
Devon Shorter's resume.
Okay. When they hired you, did they get some documentation from you?
Did they get documentation from me?
Right.
As far as ID? Yeah,
Carl Johnson's ID.
correct.
So what makes you think that after you lied to them, they'd hire you back? How can they trust you?
I mean, ultimately, it was me working to 60 hours a week, and learning the machines and doing the work. It was my knowledge.
So what? So are you going to say, I'm Carl, I'm here to work. What shift am I on now?
No.
You're never going to stop with you because you've got a built-in excuse that you're using. That you can never accomplish anything. You can't get your license, you can't do this, you can't do that because of Devon Shorter. It's a built-in, repetitive excuse that you've developed, and you've come to believe that that's your best path, is to be Carl Johnson. And it doesn't dawn on you, it really doesn't dawn on you that there's anything wrong with that. It may be just a little bit wrong with that, but what's the harm?
I mean, I don't believe that to be true. Like I said, I have a plan. It's hard to.
How long you had this plan?
I had this plan for quite some time. It's hard to just breeze by it because like time doesn't stop, bills doesn't stop, rent doesn't stop. Just because I have a plan that I'm trying to make it past and make it through.
When was the execution of the plan going to take place?
Well, I have a year and a half of schooling that I've already completed, Devon Shorter that I've already completed, and I just needed 2.5 more years of it to get through school, and hopefully I will go from there.
Novotny?
Your Honor, after talking to Mr. Shorter, ultimately informed me that he does have his barber's license. He has completed some college courses.
Here's the problem, okay? He just told me about his plan and told me what he's doing, but who's talking?
I'm sorry, what
Shorter or Johnson? Who's talking? Who are you, Shorter or Johnson?
Shorter.
Who are you today?
I'm Shorter, Your Honor.
Why do I believe anything that you say? And why do I believe anything that Ms. Novotny tells me that was conveyed to her from you? Why would I do that? I mean, you made a complete fool of me last time you were here. Not that I don't care, okay? So what, okay? But you're asking me to believe something for somebody who stood right there and lied to me last time you were here. So I'm going to believe not even a little bit of what you say.
I wish you didn't look at it as I lied to you.
Well, you did lie. You did lie. That's how I look at it. I don't know any other reasonable way to look at it. Go ahead.
He informed me he does have his barber's license, Your Honor. He did do some education, which I see for computer science. That seems to be his goal, is to complete that. He also informed me that his girlfriend is 6 months pregnant as well.
Now, how do I know that? How do I know he's got a barber's license? How do I know he's got a girlfriend? How do I know any of that? I don't. I've gone back and looked at the pre-sentence report and the entire record. I've considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. And most notably, I've considered your past record, which you have been intent on duplicating it every time you get a chance. Okay? And I've considered that you were here in 18. I kept you on probation for 5 years, and I think you had 4, maybe 5 violations. Kept you on anyway. And then I've considered that you've gone out after that and continued to do the same stuff, different names. So now you're Carlos, you're Devin, and you're Wahid. So you're not amenable to community control. I sentence you to 24 months in prison with credit for 85 days, and the costs are assessed. Anything else, Ms. Novotny?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Novotny, let me see you after you're done.
Call evaluation as well as a victim impact statement. Those reports have been completed. The state has had an opportunity to review those reports, and the state is ready to proceed with sentencing at this time. There are 104 days of jail time credit. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Novotny?
Your Honor, at this time, we would ask the court for any type of leniency with regard to this matter and to consider community control for Mr. Fisher. Regarding Mr. Fisher, he has been diagnosed with terminal cancer. It first started as lung cancer and has metastasized to his bones, Your Honor. With that, the diagnosis has been hard for Mr. Fisher and his family. He's informed that he has limited time left due to that. With that regard, Your Honor, he does suffer constant and chronic pain due to that diagnosis. With regard to the incident matter, Your Honor, we would like to ask for assistance with mental health counseling for him to continue with his treatment with regaining his cancer as well as for alcohol. He would like any necessary help with regard to those. Additionally, Your Honor, with regard to Mr. Fisher, he previously was a radiology technician. He's retired now and ultimately going through this diagnosis in any which way form he is. He is going through, I believe, 2 pain management because of the chronic pain as well. Your Honor, we're just asking for any type of leniency with regard to this matter in front of you and consider him for community control. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fisher, what do you want to tell me?
A lot, but how do you want me to start?
However you want.
Well, I do take responsibility for my actions. Like I told you in the statement, I didn't know that it was an offense to destroy your own property.
What do you mean?
What?
What do you mean?
Well, the property damage, I spread my stepson's ashes that were given to me in a golf-size ceramic, I guess you call it a very small urn, okay? And I spread the ashes and then I broke the urn because you're not supposed to reuse them on another person, so why have it? And just throw it out, someone else might use it. And you shouldn't let them do that either. So I really didn't think it out because I didn't know my wife would get so upset about it.
Gee, imagine that.
Well, because about a year before that, we went to the lake, Erie, and threw out a lot more ashes than I did. And I put our ashes in our garden, our front garden bed. And she put it in the water, and I said, he doesn't even like fishing. I try to get him fishing a lot. And she goes, well, yeah, but he liked driving the boat. I go, of course he did. He was 8 to 10 years old. Any 10-year-old would like to drive a boat. So she got me on that one. I should have talked to her beforehand. It was Halloween, one of his favorite holidays. And it's not my wife's favorite because she thinks it's more of a devil thing than an All Saints Day. But I didn't take that in consideration because...
Well, so let me ask you about that, because you took the ashes, threw them in the yard, then got the leaf blower to make sure they were blowing all over the yard.
No, not the yard.
Wait.
Okay.
And you said it was done in order to teach her a lesson.
No.
What lesson were you teaching her?
Teaching who?
Loretta.
No lesson.
Well, why did you say that?
Who?
You said that to the Willoughby police.
I don't know. Can you ask her?
No, you said that to the Willoughby police. You
I
said
did
that
not
you
say-
did it in order to teach her a lesson.
I said that to the Willoughby police?
Yeah.
Oh, my. I don't know what lesson.
See,
What?
you're pretty violent.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm a saint. No.
No, I'm not saying you're a saint either. I'm saying you're violent.
Not real violent.
Well, violent. Okay, you kind of use the sliding scale you want, but,
I'm not a fighting violent guy.
well,
I'm too sick to do that.
you're pretty abusive to Loretta.
I have been, yes. I can't deny that. She's been abusive to me, too. It's a two-way street.
Well, it's a one-way street right now.
Well, yeah. I guess whoever calls first.
Well, okay.
But she
well,
didn't even call.
Who called first in September of 2011?
The
For
kids.
For the assault.
The kids.
Kids. And what did I give you
They
then?
were on heroin.
Okay.
What?
Okay, listen.
What? I'm sorry, Your Honor.
One of the things you told me is you accept responsibility, and you've done everything since then to evade responsibility.
I do not.
You got a menacing in 2010, you got a assault, felony, and domestic violence misdemeanor here in September of 11. In September of 12, in Cuyahoga County, you got an assault F4 and a misdemeanor domestic violence. In August of 18, here, you've got a domestic violence felony 4. Is that a surprise to you?
Well, now that you mention it, it's not, but,
Okay. And now
However,
you got-
the 11
And now you've got this one.
all right.
So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 altogether. So you're violent.
Okay, I agree. Wait, 10 to 25. It's 15 years, right? It's not a terrible track record,
Well, it's terrible. It's a terrible track record.
I guess.
It's a terrible track record. And you seem to get worse as you go, because you were, of course, on this one, you didn't touch her, right? Isn't that what you said?
I tapped her.
Tapped her. How'd you tap her?
You know, when you're tapping someone's tushy, butt, they have, battissimo.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to wake her up. She was snoring so loud. We both drank that day. But it wasn't even on Halloween when I got arrested. See, I'm not taking responsibility. I'm explaining how things happen. Reasons. Now, I tapped her, and on a third time, she woke up. But see, she didn't call the police. So I didn't hit her. Now, someone said I hit her on the hip. The hip is nowhere near your butt. I mean, it's on the side, but it's more
Kinda.
interior. Kind of, but not really.
Interpretation, like I said.
She's expressed to you that she's afraid of you because you got mental health problems, you
I
drink a
do.
lot, and you get angry, and you get out of control.
Yes, sir.
You call her some pretty vile names.
I have.
Yeah.
In lieu of physical violence, I do get verbal. I do apologize for that, and I am not denying that at all. Matter of fact, I'm more verbal for sure.
But why did you plead guilty to this attempted domestic violence?
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you didn't do it?
Do what?
The offense?
I don't, it's very difficult to say. I mean, I thought that you can say you're guilty of anything if you get worded it the right way. Yeah, I tapped her, so I touched her. So, in your eyes, in the court's eyes, and police
Ms. Himmeline,
eyes.
you were here for the plea, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you recited the facts, did you say that with the facts to support the conviction is he touched her on the tushy?
I did not, Your Honor.
I didn't think so, because then I would have said, then what are we doing here? This isn't a domestic violence.
Why? That's what I did, though. I don't get it. You want me to tell the truth and then, all right.
You wouldn't know the truth if it came up and bit you in the ass.
Now, that's not fair. That is not fair, sir.
But it's true.
Okay,
it's
Your
true.
Honor. This is what I mean. Interpretation, right?
How do I interpret this that you said that was caught on video? Fuck you and the horse you rode in on that you said to Loretta. How does that get interpreted?
When did I say this?
You didn't say that?
I can't recall, but I may have.
Yeah.
I am verbally abusive. I did admit that. Now, thank God there's no beam here.
What?
I don't know what to do. You know, I really am in a lot of pain, so it's hard for me to concentrate. I didn't hit her, and I admit to tapping her. If you want to call that domestic violence, then it's domestic violence. It's all how you interpret the action.
What were the facts?
What words did I use?
What were the facts that
swear
were
to God I
the
didn't
basis of the guilty plea that he agreed that he did?
Your Honor, the facts in this case are that the defendant, several days prior to throwing the urn with the victim's dead son's ashes in it and using the leaf blower on it, he had struck her multiple times in the hip. She has had multiple back surgeries, and she was laying in bed, and he struck her several times, causing her pain.
Okay.
I don't know how I would have said that.
And so then when Ms. Himmeline recited that as the facts, at the time of the guilty plea, I asked you if you heard what Ms. Himmeline said the facts would show if the case went to trial. You indicated yes, and I asked you, was that true? And you said yes, and then you pled guilty.
True.
That's how we did it, because that's how I do it every single time.
I admitted to hitting her several times on her hip.
You admitted that what Ms. Himmeline said was accurate.
What she just said, you admitted to.
What did she say?
You didn't hear what she said?
Kind of, but
She struck her.
struck
Pushed
her.
her.
I
Yes.
used the word struck, not tap.
She used it, and that's what happened in the change of plea.
Well, then,
That's why
I was mistaken there. I'm sorry. Again, I'm in a lot of pain. And
I would take responsibility
Okay,
at this time.
so what you want me to do is to release you right now.
sorry?
I said, what you want me to do is to release you right now, and you don't want to be on probation.
No, I could take any punishment you would like to give me. I just didn't want the expenditure of the whatever you call those ankle monitors. And as sick as I am, I'd like to be able to take all the medicine I'm prescribed. And actually, I'm going to go into pulmonary care, and they give you really strong medicine.
Where?
Where? What? When I get it. When I go.
When you go where?
To the I can't read.
Palliative?
Jail.
Yeah.
Palliative care.
Where?
It hasn't been, it's getting set up now in
Set up by who?
Dr. Spanner, the jail doctor. Because it took 3 months to see him, he would have done it many months ago. But they refused to let me see him. I know it sounds,
Untrue. That's what it sounds.
but it is definitely true, and I have,
The jail refused you the ability to see this doctor?
yeah. They always made me see Gina, the PA. Now I have several kites to them stating that, and they said, you see who we want you to see.
And January 26th, you refused to go to your medical appointment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even Dr. Spanner said, how come you refuse the test? And I say, I'm in so much pain, they won't give me anything to get through the test, and I have to wear these shackles, and it's not fair, so I refuse to do the test.
Monday, January 12th, you had been in lockdown because of you acting up at the jail, but you were scheduled to be transported to the hospital the morning of the 12th, but refused. And refused to sign a medical treatment refusal form.
I did do that. I did refuse to sign the refusal form, but did I go to the one on the 7th or something?
I'm talking about the 12th.
Well, I rescheduled it, and they did not do the NPO. I couldn't take a shower, and I couldn't, and by the way, I did slip on the 12/28, I slipped on water and hurt myself more. So yeah, I was in a lot more pain, and they said I was maxed out on the medicine, and so I just said I have to refuse. I can't. They want me to do a test, and I'm not able to do the test. I know what the test entails, so I'm being honest with them, and they're like, tough it out. I'm like, easy for you to say, you know? I'm just being honest with people. I will say, if you mind, the coordinator has been very upset with me ever since she said, you're not going to get this pain medicine you want here in jail. And I ultimately got it, even though it was half the dose that I was supposed to get. And ever since then, she has not been very, her patient care to me non-exists. At least that's my opinion. I've been tortured.
Anything else you want to say?
I mean, I have in my pocket a grievance because I thought he used corporal punishment because that's the definition Captain Simpson said. But then he said in the same breath, I find zero merit in your claim. And I said, but you just gave me the exact definition of what he did. He has a taser in his pocket. He has a pepper spray. I'm dying, and he should not hit me. I was in that cell to be away from people injuring me, and he chose to shove me instead of pull out the taser and said, if you don't get in your cell, I'm going to tase you. Now that would have been, to me, I'm sorry if I'm acting like I know what they should do. I'm trying to make someone do what something. But if you don't think he excessive force, I don't know what is. He has both things, a pepper spray and a taser. They're not just for show, I hope. You know, I guess I'm just in too much pain to concentrate on what I really should say.
I don't think you should say anything more.
Then, and if you're that bad off medically, why do you refuse to go to appointments?
Sir, I try to, all right, let me explain. This, and that's why Dr. Spanner said, boy, if I would have saw you sooner, this what's it called, care?
Palliative care.
Palliative care. He would have given it to me if he knew. See that PET scan that he my doctor wants, he'll get it. It doesn't have to be while I'm in jail, and it doesn't have to be.
Well, you are in jail, and you were supposed to go to the hospital for an appointment.
I'm explaining to you, I'm in too much pain to go through the test first, and second, it's only to tell me that I need radiation therapy and chemotherapy, which neither one am I interested in doing. If I only have 2 years to live, I'd rather not suffer that long living it. I'd rather not do it and be like I am now in pain and not suffering with vomiting, projectile, or diarrhea so bad that I have to have a pad on my bed so that my wife could just clean up the pad instead of having a whole mattress to worry about.
Where is it you think you're going to live if you get out?
I think I'm going to live with my sister now.
Well,
she has a bed.
My concern about you is you're a violent person.
Especially not when I drink, and I'm not drinking.
Well, you're not drinking now because you've been in jail.
I've decided drinking is not my friend. It hasn't been, and I just haven't admitted it. And when I was in rehab from 2018, I had a 3-year sobriety, and you do remember the CBD thing.
There's been so many CBD things that I can't remember it's specific to you.
Well, you wanted me to say it was marijuana, and I said, AA said it was CBD that I can use and not marijuana, and I listened to them, and I had a marijuana card, and you said, well, where did you get that? From a doctor that works out of Costco's trunk?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think Costco has a trunk, but...
No, she worked out of her trunk.
Here's the thing with you,
I mean,
Mr. Fisher.
this is my...
Okay. You tell me that you've got a terminal condition, okay, and you've had it for how long?
Since October 31st.
Okay. And you're a violent person who doesn't seem to think what you've done is wrong, other than use abusive language. And you're a danger when you're out there. You're a danger to your wife, specifically. And you seem to be a rather nasty person, quite frankly. So I'm not sure why I should not give you a prison sentence.
You could. I have 2 years to live. I don't care where I spend the 2 years. Prison or home. I'll die where I die. I will not get treatment.
He's trying to explain it calmly, almost casually, but the details start landing wrong. Ashes scattered, an urn destroyed, and suddenly the tone in the room tightens. The judge leans in, not buying the logic, not even a little. You can feel the shift before the words even come. This isn't confusion anymore, it's disbelief. Now the pressure builds, the questions get sharper, more direct. Teach her a lesson? That line hangs there heavy. And he stumbles, backtracks, can't anchor the story. The judge isn't letting it slide, calling out the contradictions, pushing past the excuses. Then it hits harder. A pattern, violence reframed as something smaller, responsibility dodged, then claimed, then dodged again. And right there, the patience in the room starts running out.
In prison, that's for sure.
Oh, sure you will. Mr.
No, I
Timmerline?
won't. I'm telling you I won't.
And I'm telling you, you will.
Well, you're wrong.
Well, okay.
Don't.
Oh, come on, he's
Stop.
wrong.
You need to stop.
I'm being tortured here in his
You
jail.
need to stop.
Ms. Himmeline?
Put me away forever.
Thank you, Your
I
Honor.
deserve it.
The state is,
Tap on the butt.
You need to stop.
the state is not oblivious to the defendant's age, his cancer diagnosis, and mental health struggles. However, the defendant in the past has self-medicated these issues with alcohol, and as the court has indicated, he becomes violent. So these considerations do not negate the need to protect the victim in this case or the community from the defendant. His conduct in this case was deliberate, targeted, and cruel to teach Loretta a lesson. He knew the significance of her son's ashes to her, and he threw them and then took a leaf blower to blow them around to weaponize her pain and grief. And this comes several days after he had struck her multiple times on the hip because he was upset with her, and to maximize the pain that he inflicted after she has had multiple back surgeries. The defendant's physical and emotional violence in this case is not a symptom of his illness, his age, or his struggles. His actions are indicative of his desire to control, intimidate, and punish his wife. As the court has alluded, the defendant has multiple prior convictions for violent offenses, including domestic violence, the most recent being against his wife. The domestic violence has occurred in front of his wife's granddaughter, who lives in her home and who is a minor child. And not only has the victim's granddaughter observed the violence in the past, but she's had to call the police on the defendant. And the defendant, in one of the instances leading up to the offense in this case, had threatened to take his own life and to take his wife with him. The defendant indicated during his interviews that he doesn't want probation, he doesn't want treatment, he doesn't want monitoring, and he doesn't want any conditions of any kind. He just wants to go home, but that's not realistic. For all of these reasons, the state does request that the court impose a prison sentence in this case. Thank you.
Nicole, she mentioned the stabbing. How come?
What was that?
How come she's not mentioning that my granddaughter threatened to stab me while I was sleeping?
When was this?
What?
What are you talking about?
Did you say that you were going to kill yourself and take Loretta with you?
No,
You never said that.
I don't believe I did.
Okay.
I do remember my granddaughter threatening me to stab me while I was sleeping.
All right. All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report, the victim impact statement, the letter from Mr. Fisher, and I have considered all the factors that surround Mr. Fisher, including his diagnoses. I've also considered the record, his past record, his penchant for violence, his statements that he's made in relation to his wife. I've considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. You have clearly indicated that you won't comply with the terms of probation. So I'm going to find you're not amenable to community control. I'm going to sentence you to 12 months in prison with credit for 104 days, and the costs are assessed. Anything further, Ms. Himmeline?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Novotny?
No, Your Honor.
Great.
All right, we're adjourned.
All rise. Wanna go this way?
State of Ohio versus Lisa Kocher, case number 25 CR 001670. Defendant is present in open court today with her counsel, Nicole Novotny. We're here today for a sentencing. Defendant was last before Your Honor on January 8th of 2026, where she pled guilty by way of information to one count of assault, a felony of the 4th degree. At that time, a pre-sentence report, drug and alcohol evaluation, and victim impact statement were ordered. It's the state's understanding that all of those have been completed and provided to the court, and that all parties are prepared to go to sentencing at this time. Thank you.
Ms. Novotny?
Regarding the instant matter, Your Honor, we would ask the court to consider community control for Lisa. Ultimately, we provided to the court, and I know my office, specifically my social worker and myself, Aaron Mayer, have been in touch with Oak House, and they do have a bed available for Ms. Coker. With that respect, I know given that throughout her life she's suffered a lot of trauma, a lot of loss in her family, but this time she wants to put herself first. With that respect, Your Honor, she was going to Signature Health for mental health. She sees a specialist at the Cleveland Clinic. I know, just with talking with Ms. Coker, she has suffered a lot of trauma growing up. She suffers a lot of medical diagnoses, specifically Hashimoto disease, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, and she was previously dealing with cancer in her cervix. With that, Your Honor, we're just asking for any type of leniency. I know prior to incarceration, she was working for RAL Property Management, and she was working as a cleaner and a painter with that business. Ultimately, with that letter, Lisa would look forward to, if the court would be inclined to send her to Oak House, to have that opportunity, and she would take that welcomely. Your Honor, we're just asking for any leniency and consider her for community control at this time. Thank you.
Coach, what do you want to tell me before I impose sentence?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What do you want to say?
Your Honor, I've been going to Signature Health since 2013. I don't believe that you just go one time to counseling. I've gotten continued care there, including I've passed the JTP program. I finished NeoCap in the past. I haven't been here in years and years. I do have a degree. I graduated high school. I lost a lot of family members in the past couple of years, like one after the other, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but it was really traumatic for me. Excuse me. Sorry. I just want to get better for myself and my family. I do have a drinking problem. I wasn't intoxicated at the time, but I started drinking a lot just due to, I'm not trying to make excuses again, but I do understand that I was on a bad road, and I would really appreciate if I can take this time to get the help that I really need. I would be so thankful for that if you could let me just get the help I need, and you won't have any problems for me. I've never had a problem on probation. I've never had a dirty urine. I've always showed up for all my appointments. I always complete my probation with no problems. I pay my fines. It's been a really, really hard couple of years, and I want to get better. I really do, and you won't have any problems with me. Like, they won't have a problem with me at Oak House or being on probation. I was sober the whole time. I've been sober for years and years. One time I was sober for 5 years. So, I mean, I wasn't even on community control or anything else. I mean, I worked at Dino's for 4 years. I was a cook. I have many trades. My dad taught me. He was a Marine and a longshoreman. My brother was too. I lost both of them. So, I mean, I'm asking for your mercy, Your Honor.
What happened on November 27th?
I just started a new medicine. It was called Banafin and Latuda. I was going to Signature Health at the time. For some reason, every time they give me medicine, I'm not making excuses again, but it didn't really work good with me, I don't think, because I just felt weird. I was having I did let my provider know I didn't really like it too much. I just felt tired and just not myself. But anyways, so it was Thanksgiving, And I couldn't get a hold of my daughter. I can barely ever get a hold of her. I'm not sure where she's even living at this time. It's been a big issue. I know that she's in a bad relationship. I'm not here to talk about her, but I'm very concerned about her. And I didn't have anywhere to go. And so I went to Dax bar, and I walked in, got food, because someone told me they're having food. I had gotten a hotel for 10 days because my apartment has black mold, so I paid for a hotel for 10 days. They were gonna fix that while I was there. So anyway, so I was hungry. I don't have any family here, and so I went there to eat. I was eating, and I ordered a Red Bull. This was confirmed by the owner and bartender. I did not order any drinks as I was sitting there. She said, "You look familiar." I said, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "Weren't you just in here a couple months ago?" I said, "No, I haven't been here since I was in my 20s. I don't go to bars really anymore." And she said, "No, you were here over the summer." And I said, "No, I wasn't here." And she's like, so she hands me this Chime card. I've never had a Chime account, and a receipt. She said, "No, you have an outstanding tab with us." I said, "No, the outstanding tab was $38. So I said, "Okay, fine, I'll pay for it then, but it's not mine." And she's like, "You know what? No, you could just leave. You got an attitude." And I said, "Okay, well then I'll just leave then. I won't pay for it." And so then the owner came up behind me. I had my hair down at the time. I had my winter jacket on and a bag, that like over the side bag, like I forgot what it's called. Crossbody bag. So he grabbed my hair from behind and my like full on, like it's on camera, grabbed my hair from behind, pulled me and my bag off there. I went back like this and turned around with a reflex and, went like that to him. He got back, and then all of a sudden, this guy next to me takes my head and my glasses, almost breaking my glasses, puts my head down with my hair. I'm like, then I'm being knocked off the bar stool. I fell on my back, and I went off. My shoes came off, everything. I was trying to get them off me. I kept on telling them, "I'm going to sue you," and stuff like that. And get off me, and, telling them, "Get off me." So this guy grabs my legs, and they're like, finally they let me go. So I bend over, I get my glasses, put them back on my head, and then continue. Then I asked for my shoes. This is, they gave me my shoes, and I said, "I'm suing you. You shouldn't have touched me," and everything. And I was going to call the police. So anyways, I walk out because they said, "Get out of here, don't come back." I said, "Okay." So I leave. And so I'm walking down the street, and it's like windy, and it's like really cold and
Well,
everything.
hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So the police went back and talked to the owner and some of the bartender.
Uh-huh.
And they report that you had a Chime card, that you were there on August 11th with a balance on it and left, and didn't pay it, didn't come back, and then you were here this night.
Mm-hmm.
They observed you to be obviously impaired. You were demanding that they serve you alcohol. They refused, and then you started arguing with other patrons, and they told you to leave, and then you turned and elbowed the owner in the face, and that's when you were then somewhat forcibly removed from Dax, and then you went outside.
I walked out myself after
All right,
they
so
let me out.
what happened outside?
Your Honor, this is exactly what happened, what I'm telling you, I promise.
Okay, what
I was
happened
assaulted
outside?
in there by many people. That's not how you
I want
ask
to know
someone to
what, you're
leave.
charged with assault.
Uh-huh.
For
Not
what
by
happened,
him.
for what
No,
happened
he said
outside.
he didn't
So-
want to.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. What happened outside?
Okay, so I left the area, so I went to the gas station, got a vape, a nicotine vape, then started walking towards Gabriel Brothers in the parking lot to leave the area to get a lift. I was on my phone. I'm partially deaf in my left ear, so I was walking, it was windy. All of a sudden, I'm walking, and a cop is running towards me, and I'm like, "Oh," like this. I put my hands up. "Oh, hi." He goes, "Come with me to my cruiser." He said, "Where you just at Dax?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay. So, what's your name?" He got it. All of a sudden, he starts grabbing me. They accosted me immediately without barely even talking to me. No one wanted to press charges. I didn't do anything illegal in there. I was accosted in that bar, not once, but twice. Now being held, against, I didn't know what it was happening. So he puts, and I was not intoxicated, and I asked for a Red Bull, Your Honor, that's an energy drink. I was on pharmaceutical meds, so then they put my hands behind my back.
And then why did they indicate that you smelled pretty badly of alcohol?
I don't know, Your
He keeps talking, layering claim on top of claim, pain, mistreatment, grievances, trying to pull sympathy back into the room. But it's slipping. The judge has already heard enough, and you can feel that distance growing. Now he pushes further, bringing up force, accusations, even fear, but the timing feels off. The momentum isn't with him anymore. Each new detail sounds less like clarity and more like deflection. There's a pause, and it's telling. The judge gives him space to finish, but not validation. The tension here isn't loud, it's controlled, contained, and final. Because underneath everything he's saying, one question is already answered. Credibility is gone. And once that's gone in a courtroom, nothing else carries the same weight.
Honor. I kept on telling them I'm not intoxicated.
All right.
I asked them why they were arresting me. They said, now you're being arrested because you're resisting. The only thing that I think that they should have said is, you're trespassing from the bar, now get out of here. You don't have any warrants, here's your ID back, and leave the area, instead of grabbing me like that without even talking to me and getting my side of the story. No, they most definitely assaulted me. It's all on video. I watched the video several times. It's all on video. I did nothing from start to finish. I was not intoxicated. I was on pharmaceutical meds.
Did you assault one of these officers?
No.
You did not? You didn't grab him in the crotch and squeeze his penis?
No, Your Honor. My
You didn't.
hands were all the way up my back. I said, I'm not grabbing you. What are you talking about? That's when his knee was behind my knee, and they kept on saying, put your foot down. It was just a mess. Like I don't understand why they didn't just say, hey, you're trespassing from the bar. Do not go back in there if we catch you in there.
You weren't scuffling at all with the police?
They had me like.
No, I said, were you scuffling at all?
No, I was trying. I kept on saying, you're hurting me, you're hurting me, you're hurting me, you're hurting me. Ow, 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 you're hurting me. I was crying.
So these 3 or 4 police officers, probably the entire shift, had nothing better to do than see you walking down the street and decide to screw around with you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, that you don't believe me. I am telling you the truth.
You.
Yeah, no, I was walking and I didn't. He said, "Come to my cruiser." I willingly walked to his cruiser. As I was walking, he grabbed my hand. I said, "Why are you touching me?" I didn't understand why he would be grabbing my hand. His job was to tell me, "Do not go back in that bar. You're trespass. Let me see your ID."
Well,
Okay? You have no warrants. Now goodbye.
I don't think you were in a situation to tell these guys what their job was.
But I was walking.
At that occasion, it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't your place to tell these guys what their job is.
Okay, it does. I mean, he grabbed my hand while I was walking to the cruiser willingly with him, and then
Well,
put my hands
he says the
immediately.
exact opposite, that
No,
you were walking away.
No, Your Honor, I was walking. Then when I heard them, when he came close to me, I said, "Oh, hi." I turned around and went like this. I went like this with my hand. I had my cell phone in this hand, and I go, "Oh, hi." He goes, "Come to my cruiser with me." While I was walking, he grabbed my hand. And I said, "Why are you touching me?" All of a sudden, "No, we're not doing this, we're not doing this." And he grabbed me and put my hands behind my back.
Right.
And that's when I said, "You are hurting me." And he was pushing me against the cruiser. I kept on saying, "You're hurting my arm, you're hurting me, you're hurting me." And they were squeezing my arms. I said, why am I being arrested? They go, like 10 minutes later after that, all that, they said, "There's no way I can win against 2 male officers who are really big and tall." I was not doing that. And then after I said, "You're hurting me, ow, 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 ow." They said, no, we're not. And then they said, I said, "Why am I being arrested? What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, now you're being arrested for resisting."
So you're interviewed by Ms. Knaus, January 28th, and when the discussion came to what happened that night, you said you went to Dax Bar to eat and drink a sugar-free Red Bull.
That's what I ordered.
The bar owner accosted you, asked you to leave for no reason.
That's,
When you were outside in the parking lot, the police arrived and used excessive force to arrest her, acting like cavemen and military men. She reported she's deaf in her left ear and could not hear the police calling her, and had just been prescribed Latuda, which caused her to appear drunk, which she denies.
this is in Sunoco's parking lot, sir. I was not in Dak's parking lot. I walked away immediately and got out of that area. It was the parking lot.
So then it
over.
says, the defendant stated she did not grab the police officer's penis and only pleaded guilty because she was coerced. You were coerced?
Your Honor, I know that I can't, I know that if they come in here, just like right now, you don't believe me, Your
Were you
Honor.
coerced to plead guilty?
I mean, I feel like I can't win against a whole police station. I
Well,
want to go
the
forward.
question is, were you
I knew this
coerced
was
to
gonna
plead
happen.
guilty?
I mean, I don't know.
You don't know? So when I asked you at the,
No.
when I asked you at the plea hearing, have you been coerced?
I don't want anyone to
Hey,
retaliate against
listen to
me. This is happening
Listen to
to me.
me.
This keeps on happening to me.
When I asked you at the plea hearing if you were coerced in any way to plead guilty today, your answer was no.
No, Your Honor. That's my answer right now. No, Your
Okay, then
Honor.
why did you tell her you were coerced?
Because I'm scared of retaliation against a whole police force. Okay, they keep on doing this to me. They didn't even stop to talk to me like I'm a human being. They immediately grabbed me for no reason. They didn't say, "You are trespassed from the bar, Lisa Coker. Now get out of here." Okay, you don't have any warrants? Let me see your ID. Yes, sir. Like, here's your ID.
So this is the,
They accosted me like
this is the
barbarically.
entire, this is
Okay.
the entire city of Wickliffe. Let's
Your Honor, I
get Lisa
am suffering
Coker
from
night
PTSD
on
and I'm a
November
trauma
27th,
victim.
right? Is that
Okay.
what it is?
I'm sorry?
This is Get Lisa Coker.
Yeah, we
in
grew up
Wickliffe.
there. Yeah, they were after my family. Yes, Your Honor. I'm horrified of the justice system and retaliatory acts from the police. Yes, so yes, I'm gonna plead that no one coerced me, and I want to please get on with this. I'm a trauma victim. I am a victim of the justice system.
You are someone that's created a unique niche in the justice system with your
No,
past
Your Honor,
record.
I'm sorry you feel that way, but I am a good
Well,
person.
I'm just looking at your record,
I'm a good person.
okay? I'm just looking at your record.
Okay.
You've been at it for,
I haven't been here in 9 years.
you've been at this criminal justice system as an adult thing for 31 years.
Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol,
Drugs?
domestic
No.
violence.
Excuse me, I don't do drugs.
Assault?
No, I don't do drugs.
Right.
No, that's wrong. No. I need help, Your Honor. I'm here to get help.
Well, why haven't, you were on probation in 2016 to Judge Lucci. Why didn't you get help then?
I know, help is something you get for years. I've never been into an inpatient program,
Well,
sir.
why not?
I've been in one for like 30 days. I'm figuring that this one can help me because it's longer. You can't just get help in 30 days.
Well, then why didn't you?
Help is continued onto your
Why didn't
adult
you do
life.
that? Why
I
didn't you do
have
that?
many times. I've done plenty of 30. I've been in an outpatient program at Signature Health. I just haven't done long-term care, sir. I've been in outpatient. This is not something you just get help for and then say, well, I'm done. I've been going to get help. I have massively improved. Trust
Well,
me.
I don't know what you need help for if you told me that.
I have PTSD and anxiety, and I have an alcohol problem. I do not have problems with drugs, Your Honor. I told you the truth. I'm telling you the truth right now.
Okay.
Everything that I said, I'm not going to lie to you. I do have a problem with alcohol.
Then I either have to believe you or I have to believe the people in Dax and the police. Which one do you think I'm
Well, I mean, it's on record. I'm telling you what happened. That is what happened. They immediately grabbed me without even talking to me, and they just believed them over me. And there's a video of the whole thing from the first.
Well, then wouldn't that have been a good thing at trial, to show the video and the police
I
accosted you?
figured
for
you
no
watched
reason?
it, Your Honor. I'm not sure. I'm just going along with the flow here. I do need help with my alcohol problem. I do get help. I can only do so much if a pharmaceutical drug doesn't work on me. I try another one. I was not intoxicated, Your Honor. I'm telling you the truth. I do need help. Please let me go to Oak House. I really would appreciate the help. I'll show up at all my probation appointments like I did last time. I will pass, I don't do
Why is it up
drugs.
to me to provide help? Why don't you get your own help?
I do, I'm still a patient at Signature Health.
Okay.
not lying to you.
Anything else you want to say?
I've been sick and I'm just, with other stuff, and then when that happened with 1, 2, 3 people, not just one person. It was my dad, my mom, my brother died this past couple of years. I started drinking again, and I'm sorry. Sometimes those things happen. I was falling apart. Yeah, and then apparently Signature Health wasn't enough for me. I probably went off the deep end a little bit, and I'm not making excuses for my behavior. I'm sorry.
Okay, but this behavior's been going on in one form or another for 31 years.
Okay, Your Honor, I'm not a perfect person. I never said I was.
I didn't say you were a perfect person.
I've never went to like a 6-month program for for mental and mental and alcohol problems. It's only been like 30 days here, and I asked to be in one, and then they put me in an orca house, but that was only 30 days. I just got out of there. That was only 30 days. I'm figuring that with this plus probation, I did so well on probation. I never drank the whole time. I went to meetings. I had a sponsor. I had a home group. I was doing meetings every single day. I was doing good. Yeah, and then they died, and then I was like, couldn't believe it. I was like, and I'm not trying to make excuses. I know I shouldn't have started drinking, but I don't know what happened. I just kind of lost it because they were a big part of my life, and
that doesn't give you the right or the basis when you're approached by the police on November 27th for a good reason.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't give you the right.
It was a lawful stop.
That doesn't give you the right to fight with them.
Your Honor,
to resist them. Okay, this
put my
isn't
hand-
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I put my
okay?
hands up.
This isn't Los Angeles, California, or New York City.
Okay.
You don't have the right to fight with the police
No,
and
I
to
do
grab
not.
them in the crotch and cause them
All
an
over
injury
my uncles.
that sent them to the ER.
I had to go to the hospital.
Okay, you don't have the right to do that.
Your Honor,
Under any
respect all
circumstance.
police. I went to school for criminal justice.
Good.
I went to the Cleveland
Then you
Heights
should
Police
know
Academy.
better. Then you should know
Your
better.
Honor, they accosted me off the street and hurt me very
No,
badly
they didn't.
before even, yes.
No, they didn't.
Your Honor, it's on tape.
No, they didn't.
I'm
You are not a reliable reporter of what happened.
I'm accepting what you're saying, Your Honor. I respect all police and even the correction officers here at the jail. I'm the only person probably in the jail that does. You should see these people, how they treat these COs in here. I don't just say, give me some toilet paper and all that stuff. No, I did say, like this Tim, as soon as I saw him, I go, oh, hi. I put my hands up.
On Friday, January 2nd, at approximately 14:27 hours, inmate Lisa Coker was issued a 23-hour lockdown for a major violation, indecent exposure.
I was going to the bathroom on the toilet, and the CO walked by, and I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to do that. I was going to the bathroom. I had an emergency. I almost went to the bathroom on my pants. No, that was squashed by the captain.
On December 31,
See?
at 17:10 hours...
Is this my crime?
You told me that you've been a perfect inmate over
I
here,
didn't say
and I'm
perfect.
giving you the second example when you
I
weren't.
didn't say perfect.
Okay? Disobeying the inmate rules of conduct,
I didn't
along
say perfect.
with Ignatovsky, who's been here,
I was
Riley,
talking to her about my daughter.
who's been here, for talking through the lower mezzanine door. Now, it's no big deal to you, right? But the
No, I
rules-
didn't know that was
There are
a
certain
rule.
rules.
That's not in the inmate
Okay,
handbook.
all right. Everybody's out to get Lisa.
No, I didn't say that.
Everybody's out to get Lisa. Ms.
That's not
Cutts.
in the inmate handbook that you can't go to
Ms.
the door. I
Cutts.
didn't know, Your Honor, and I
Enough.
apologize for that.
Enough.
I'm not a perfect hand.
Enough.
Not perfect, that's for sure. I have a problem with alcohol. I really need help.
All right, you have a problem talking too much.
Okay, you're right.
So your
You're
turn
right
is
about
done.
that. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. In this case, looking at the factors of the seriousness, did want to point out, as you have made reference to, that the victim in this case Ryan Krempa did suffer physical harm. There were 2 incidents while with the defendant where she, on 2 different occasions, either pinched or grabbed his penis through his uniform. Later on, he had issues with pain and vomiting and ended up going to the emergency room where he was found to have testicular torsion. So they had to do a procedure in the emergency room to correct that so that he wouldn't have any permanent damage. It's my understanding he does not have permanent damage. However, his insurance did not pay for everything, so there is economic harm in the amount of $358.55. Insurance paid a portion. That receipt has been provided to the court. So in addition to trying to do his job, he was injured during that time frame. In addition to what was occurring there, besides the seriousness factors, we have the recidivism factors. At the time of this incident, the defendant was on bond in multiple courts. She was on bond in Cuyahoga County, she was on bond in Lakewood Municipal Court and Akron Municipal Court. There may have been others, but those I confirmed myself. She was also on probation for Lyndhurst Municipal Court. She has a probation violation pending in that court, as well as I believe probation indicated she was on probation in Mayfield Heights Municipal Court and Marion Municipal Court. She does have a history of criminal convictions, a juvenile assault and violating court order, and then her adult history began in 1995. I won't go through all of it, but she began with felonies. Her first felony was in 1997, the aggravated possession of drugs. She has felonies in 2017 as well, attempted domestic violence, and has multiple warrants out, Cuyahoga County, Lakewood Municipal Court, Garfield Heights, Cleveland Heights Municipal Court, and some pending cases that include the warrants as well as other cases. She has had issues in the jail. I know the court was just referring to them. There were 8 documented in the pre-sentence report, 5 being major violations and 1 being a serious violation. She's not responded favorably to previous sanctions. She has had probation violations in 2023. She had a misdemeanor assault with 2 probation violations. She has various failure to appear warrants and obviously numerous convictions. There are drug and alcohol issues, or at least alcohol issues that are occurring. The individual who did the drug and alcohol evaluation indicated that her prognosis was guarded because of a history of noncompliance with treatment and medication.
That's not true.
Based on all of that, it is the state's view that prison is consistent and the defendant is not amenable to community control. We would recommend prison in this case. She has 79 days of credit. We'd also ask for restitution to Ryan Krempa, the amount of $358.55, and that she be notified about the costs and post-release control. And that would be the state's recommendation at this time. Thank you.
I've reviewed the pre-sentence report and the drug and alcohol evaluation, the victim impact statement. I will note in the pre-sentence report that the defendant was entered as ordered through some probation department into Orca House November 11th of 25 and left against staff advice on November 26th of 25. This event occurred November
They told me to
27th.
leave. I had 5 days left, Your Honor. They told me to leave
Okay, listen,
because the security guards
Okay.
took his gun out and threatened me.
I know.
Yeah. and
It's
he
a
got
common,
fired.
it's a common theme.
I know, he got
apparently.
fired. Yeah, this
It's
is
a
being done
common
on
theme
purpose.
apparently. So, having reviewed everything and considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13, the defendant is clearly not amenable to community control. I'm going to sentence you to 17 months in prison with credit for 79 days. When you get out, you might be on post-release control for up to 2 years under the parole authority with conditions. If you violate the conditions, the parole authority could return you to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If that violation is a new felony, you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation, the maximum of which is the greater of 12 months or the time left under post-release control. The costs are assessed. Restitution is ordered to Ryan Krempa in the amount of $358.55. Anything else, Ms. Cutts?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Novotny?
No, Your Honor.
So how many months do I get in prison?
17.